What's going on, you guys? Jay here and welcome back to the channel. So don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. There seems to be a bit of drama floating around at the moment, and I think a lot of people are going to take this and turn it into a huge thing, and I really don't think it needs to be. Instead, I believe severe actions require severe consequences. What everybody needs to understand is this situation hasn't happened suddenly. It's actually been an evolving situation that's played out over a significant amount of time. And this is always going to be the issue when there's any kind of gatekeeping in place, there's any kind of centralization that's rolling out. And from my perspective, this is why I'm always monitoring any kind of sneaky moves that are being introduced on chain, regardless of the person and their history and the things that they may have done. I'm always very cautious. And under these circumstances, what we're actually seeing is a disturbing display of centralized control. It's been executed without governance approval. It's been done without the community's consent. It's completely disregarded the validating base, and it's had absolutely no respect for the core decentralized principles that really define us here on Terra Classic. And it's sad to say that the individual behind this latest move is Vegas Morph, who has once again made a unilateral decision on behalf of a Terra Classic blockchain. This time he's done it by changing the official links on CoinMarketCap for our blockchain. Again, this wasn't run through governance. It wasn't agreed upon by the community or validators, yet he's gone ahead and he's done it. Now, a lot of you keen listeners will know that this isn't the first instance of centralized overreach by those who once held positions of power in Terra Classic. In fact, we've seen this happen before, not just with Vegas Morph, but also with others like Hexagon, a former Terra Rebels member who manipulated the circulating supply of USTC without any community input or regard for the decentralized nature of our blockchain. The Terra Classic community has worked hard to build a decentralized ecosystem, not a centralized one. And these unauthorized acts fly in the face of every single thing that we have stood for and what we have built. It's one thing to propose changes through governance, where we as a collective can make decisions for the good of the chain, but it's entirely different when the individuals act on their own, pulling strings behind the scenes and making choices that really affect all of us. Okay, but if you actually dig deeper, it becomes clear that this isn't just a single incident, it's actually part of a bigger pattern playing out. Head over to Luna Telegram groups and you'll actually see that Vegas, Rexy and Hexagon have also managed to change the official links that are provided to Luna Classic holders that stumble into those groups. So the common denominator with each one of these people mentioned is the fact that they're working on something outside and externally to LUNC, and this actually leaves them in a position where they can siphon off new LUNC holders, quietly leading them away from the original chain, again, that we've worked so hard to rebuild, all while they develop their layer 2 projects, casinos, validators, games, you name it. It's not part of Terra Classic. So why have these people taken it upon themselves to commit these centralized acts which really bring all of the attention to them? We're going through a substantial transitional phase with TFL shutting down, and this is the perfect opportunity for predators like this to gain more control over the decentralized nature of our blockchain. Is this not putting them in the perfect position to siphon off these new holders that are pouring in? So when we look even deeper, it's not just about CoinMarketCap or some Telegram links. This is all about an ongoing effort to pull people away from LUNC. Those involved have been developing layer 2s, validators, casinos, all in a coordinated attempt to shift the focus away from the layer 1 blockchain and toward their own ventures so they can bank and buck off of these holders instead of seeing the chain prosper and everybody rise together. Honestly, it's not hard to see what's happening here, and all this has done is bolstered everything we've been talking about. They're playing the long game. It's quite simple for these layer 2 projects that are building outside of LUNC. It's clear for them what they need to do, and it's simply just outlast the LUNC chain. And when it finally collapses, they'll be there to swoop in and steal the remaining holders that have stood strong whilst they're pillaging and plundering the very ecosystem that we're all part of. And again, it doesn't stop there. You've all recently witnessed as a power move played out between Diamond Hands and Genuine Labs, who essentially just created a centralized body that operated separate from the decentralized chain they claim to support. The question we need to ask ourselves is simple. When does the Terra Classic community draw the line? When do we decide that enough is enough? When do we stop accepting validators, projects, and layer 2s that cross ethical boundaries, act without consent, and essentially disrespect the very foundation of the decentralized chain we've all fought to uphold? At what point do we say that these centralized power plays, this double noding, triple noding, outright greed must stop? These are people who are double dipping, setting up multiple validators to manipulate governance, or acting as if they're building for the community when in fact they're building for themselves and they're only going to continue self-serving. So again, I say to everybody, severe actions require severe consequences. If these actions go unpunished, they're going to continue happening. Let me be absolutely clear once again, this isn't about a few bad actors. It's about the future of Terra Classic itself. Do we want a chain that's truly decentralized, where the decisions are made through open governance and community consensus? Or do we want a chain where a handful of people motivated by their own greed and interest have power to manipulate and control? If LUNC holders and validators continue to allow these centralized grabs for power to go unchecked alongside all of the other things that are underlying these issues, we really risk losing everything that we've worked for. We risk diluting the value of LUNC, we risk splintering our community, and we're allowing outside forces to take over once again. This isn't just a one-time issue, it's becoming a systematic problem that needs to be addressed head on. I'm not here to sugarcoat anything. We're at a crossroads, and if we do not act now, if we don't stand up against all of these actions that I've mentioned, then essentially we're allowing our chain to be overrun by those who have absolutely zero respect for decentralization. Severe actions require severe consequences. Those who act without community consent, who manipulates our systems for personal gain, and who engage in centralized power grabs must face the consequences of their actions. This could mean anything from being voted out of governance to more direct consequences, but it must happen from my perspective. We mustn't go round in different X spaces whinging and moaning that these decisions have been made. Instead, we should become actionable. We should punish these offences so no one ever feels like they could go ahead and make a centralised decision without consulting governance, the community, or validators. We cannot allow these individuals again to go unchecked. Otherwise, Terra Classic is just going to be another victim of centralized greed. Once again, I want to make it very clear to everybody that this video isn't about creating drama. It's not about turning a molehill into a mountain. It's not about lighting a fire and creating a chain reaction. It's about becoming actionable in the same way that we saw Anchor and Mirror protocol funds needed to be burned. We saw that they were ordered to be burned. So we became actionable and we burnt those assets. When I look at this centralized power play that has just happened, it's quite simple what they need to do. Cease and desist, remove your links from CoinMarketCap and any other places, remove your links from any related groups that you've been utilizing to siphon off holders. There is no central body in a decentralized chain, especially on Luna Classic, where it belongs to the entire community. So let's summarize this video down, as we've covered multiple different underlying issues on chain. Firstly, Vegas being Tritium, Rexy being Terraport, Echelon and Raider being Hexagon need to cease and desist and remove all of their links from anywhere they're deemed official. Secondly, we need to figure out some kind of punishment process for validators who are openly double or triple noding or even network noding. When it comes down to an L2, realistically, you want them to have one validator, not a validator for every single department of their project. This isn't what decentralization is about, and effectively it's going to lead to more centralization further down the line. Thirdly, we need to look at the current situation in hand when it comes to anybody that's gatekeeping, whether it's down to development teams, if it's TFL, if it's somebody at Binance. Nobody should be gatekeeping, and we're really walking towards a situation where LUNC effectively needs a council. But again, we have a council, and that's what everybody seems to misunderstand, that the decentralized governance-based consensus method is the council. Each validator is responsible for this blockchain, and each one of their delegates support them because they believe they are going to be the ones that are really providing the most beneficial stuff for this blockchain. Each and every one of you needs to understand that you are effectively the guardians of decentralization. You are the people that can status check each and every one of these validators. And if you don't like what they're doing and they're not supporting decentralization, then yeah, you probably should find another validator that is supporting the very basic ethics of this blockchain. Terra Classic will always belong to each and every one of us, and it's up to us to defend it. Let's not let a few individuals tear down what we've all built. We need to stand strong, we need to stand united, and we need to remain committed to the future where LUNC continues thriving, not because of centralized power plays, but because the collective strength of its community had got its future together in its hands and protected it. These issues do not require hype men on Twitter creating X spaces. They require straightforward, head-on solutions that simply push that bold statement. Severe actions require severe consequences. You want to act like an animal? Well, then you're going to get treated like one. Something that's going to be very interesting is the fact we will likely see the usual suspect responsible for the recent power play on chain that centralized everything around Genuine Labs now moan that somebody else has created a power play, and there will likely be an emergency space that you all need to panic about. But essentially, we don't. We need to be actionable. And that's my 2 cents on this whole situation. I'm sorry about the low level of visuals and other stuff going on the screen, bringing in other things for reference. I'm currently going through a huge transition. I'm going to be moving very soon, and I'll give you guys a lot more information. And it's all essentially to benefit the LUNC community and what we're working on. We're really taking this thing to the next level for you guys so we can help benefit your future, and then we can all prosper together like we originally wanted. And the reason why we're all involved in this blockchain, we want to rise this thing from the ashes, but we want to do it while maintaining our decentralization. If we lose that aspect, what are we really standing for at this point? I want you guys to know that I take my role as a validator on chain very seriously, whether it's here creating content to keep you guys informed, up to date, and understanding all of the intricacies of the blockchain, whether it's creating LUNCDash and the whole metric analytic tools that we provide, whether it's the wallet infrastructure support, whether it's the NFT project that is heavily committed as one of the biggest projects and biggest treasuries on chain. Even if it's a situation where we're building a metaverse that revolves specifically around LUNC, we're trying to do as much as we can with those essential resources that we are getting. So I want each and every one of you to know that you're like family to me. Each and every one of you that turns up here every day, listens to me, here's my content, here's my voice, you're my family. Together, we have all worked collectively to get to the position we're at. And that's something that can never, ever be taken away from us. It can never be used against us. And no one can ever say to us, we're bad actors. We're nasty people that are not here for the blockchain. In fact, it's the quite opposite. And we don't go around preaching it. Instead, I try to just prove to everybody. Again, essentially, I'm a proof in the pudding guy. But yeah, look, guys, babbling, have a really nice weekend. Stay safe, stay humble, stay aware. And as always, I'll catch you in the next one. Ciao.